Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is your brother Yahawah. I want to give all glory and praises to our Heavenly Father Yahawah, and we do so in the name of our Lord and Savior Yahawashi. This is a channel update, so that way you brothers and sisters can know the various channels that we have and where we put our content. What we highly recommend you do is to click on the different links, subscribe, and hit the bell notifications, so that way you can be alerted of any new content that we upload. As you know that we are in the time of the end where there's going to be a lot of information suppression. So we want to make sure that you brothers and sisters are able to have access to the information that you need to know as you're growing spiritually, being built up, and also fighting and striving to receive everlasting life.
Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him. And all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so. Amen. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. We want to give all glory and praise to our Heavenly Father Yahawah, and we do so in the name of our Lord and Savior Yahawashi. Grace and mercy be abound to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, that are waiting on the second coming of our Lord and Savior Yahawashi Hamashiach, and to those brothers and sisters that are following the Lord in truth and sincerity. All right, today we're going to go over, as we know, we're approaching the Passover. The first month of the year has approached. It is now spring. So we're going, of course, into the season that everybody knows as the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Right. So we're going to go over just kind of a precursor of what does that mean? What is the scriptural significance of what it means according to the gospel, meaning according to what Yahawashi and his apostles taught concerning what is leaven, right, in terms of in a doctrine. Right. Okay? So this is very important for you to understand, because it's deeper than all Israel just going around and just taking part in this feast. They need to examine the kind of doctrine and people that are among them. That's right, man. Okay? Yep. So brother's going to go into some of the other things to say.
Yeah, just this time of the year, man, it's like every time this high holy day approaches, it's like a lot of things become exposed in the body of Yahawashi, man. And this is the time when a lot of these things get exposed, and then they get weeded out at the same time, even before the high holy day come, or either after.
Right.
So this is a very important time of the year that, a lot of brothers just think it's just time to feast and party. But like the brother just said, you guys to weigh the people around you, man, and examine them. Even examine yourself sometimes.
Right.
But it's like, this is that time of the year, man, So, and this is what we're going to give brothers understanding on what Yahawashi words when he spoke to his disciples and what he meant. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 16 and verse 5. And when his disciples were come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. Then Yahawashi said unto them, Take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, It is because we have taken no bread. Which when Yahawashi perceived, he said unto them, O ye of little faith, why reason ye among yourselves, because ye have brought no bread? Do ye not yet understand? Neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, and how many baskets ye took up? neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many baskets ye took up? How is it that ye do not understand that I spake is not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees? Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees.
Yeah, so beware of the doctrine of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. So it's a mentality that they have that they're basically are promoting. They're promoting a doctrine that is causing problems.
Right.
So the doctrine is to be unleavened, meaning without something that causes issues.
Right.
And causes corruption, moral corruption in the body. So when you take hold of the doctrine of the Pharisees and Sadducees, they actually cause certain levels of corruption or self-righteousness.
Right.
So for example, you have like the doctrine, like with the Pharisees, they believe that everybody needs to always wash their hands before they eat.
Right.
Well, what this does is that it creates a sense of what? Self-righteousness. So that's when they got on the disciples about them not doing that, right? Or they will say, oh, if we were in the time of our fathers, we wouldn't have done that to the prophets.
Right.
So they were looking to themselves as if they were not the same ones that were rebellious against the prophets. Because remember what Paul says, that he was at one time ignorant and rebellious against the righteous way. So he knew that if he said, hey, I was once like that. So he acknowledged that he would have been one that would slay the prophets because, again, Paul, calling himself the chief sinner, had also done so. But the Pharisees were looking at themselves as self-righteous. They were doing things like when they would give alms, they would announce it to all the brothers and the sisters.
Right.
They wouldn't just come and just do it. They would let their left hand knew what their right hand would do. So you would have maybe a guy and his wife, they'll go and get stuff for the poor, but then they would come and tell everybody, hey man, I gotta do this, man. I just did this, man. It felt so good for me to be my wife to do this.
Right, right.
So they're doing these characteristic things that's showing you self-righteousness, and they got their reward. So there's little things that, like, if you're doing it, these are things that you have to correct as well. Because a lot of times when we're amongst each other, we'll talk about, man, we used to do this and that, and I can't believe we used to do this and that. Dang,
Right.
you feel bad. You be like, dang, I can't believe we used to eat pork. We used to do this. We used to celebrate these holidays and stuff. We used to be, you know?
Right.
So a lot of times that kind of keeps you remembering, like, dang, you know, you humble yourself. But the Pharisees and Sadducees, they wasn't doing that. So we're going to go into what they were doing.
This is Luke chapter 12 and verse 1. In the meantime, where there were gathering together an innumerable multitude of people, insomuch that they trode one upon another, he began to say unto his disciples, first of all, beware ye of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy.
Yeah, so the leaven of the Pharisees is hypocrisy. Now, when you go in that, the brother's going to go in there in the blue letter, and he's going to go into, what is that word? I believe it's hypocrisis.
Right.
But he's going to break down what it means.
Hypocrisies, which means answering, the acting of a stage player, dissimulation, hypocrisy.
Yeah, so dissimulation, hypocrisy. So a stage player, one that's acting.
Right.
They're acting like they're righteous, but they're not.
Strong's definition, acting under a feigned part, deceit, condemnation, dissimulation, hypocrisy.
Remember when it says that those men came to Yahawashi asking him questions, and they feigned themselves as righteous men, and he knew that they were not?
They were being deceptive.
They were being deceptive. And see, this is what happens. These guys that cause dissimulation, or they're the actors, they go around trying to act like they know that, like they are doing something in righteousness and deception. For example, somebody may accuse a brother of teaching a doctrine, but they themselves agreed and taught the doctrine, but they went behind the back to other brothers and said, hey, by the way, this doctrine this brother taught is wrong, and I'm going to lie and I'm going to act like I know that the person is a false teacher, but I'm going to stow this discord and cause dissimulation and act as if I don't know, or play puppet master.
And say multiple sisters fell out the truth.
Yeah.
Of it. Like, what sisters, man?
Yeah.
It's like, there's no proof of that.
Yeah, I'm saying multiple people fell out of truth over a doctrine that they also
It wasn't
on.
even no doctrine. It was a statement.
It was a statement, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was no lesson or nothing ever done on it then.
Yeah, there was not even, and the thing about it is, when you get somebody that's doing that, they're acting as if they are concerned when they're really not concerned, because they have an ulterior motive. That's the same thing what those men did. They came up to Yahawashi with an ulterior motive, trying to trap him in his words.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing that a hypocrite would do. Like the Pharisees was doing with Yahawashi, or they were acting as if they would tell brothers, hey, don't keep these wicked holidays, but in their house they're keeping wicked holidays.
Exactly.
So they'll go on the block, they'll tell you to stop keeping certain holidays, birthdays and the like, but then at their house, they're actually observing these same things.
Right.
So what did it tell you? It says that observe what they do, but do not after they works, for they say and they do not. So they bind burdens upon men, grievous to be born, but they will not lift them with one of their fingers.
Right.
So while they're telling you to go into your house and stop and correct these issues in your house, they're in their house celebrating the things that they told you not to celebrate. That's hypocrisy. That's why you hear it say you're being a hypocrite, because you are promoting not to do this, yet you do that.
Right.
At the same time. So that's why it says in that word, hypocrisis, a stage player.
Yep.
You a CB4. You a studio gangster.
Yep. An actor.
You a studio gangster. You a CB4, man.
That's an actor.
You out there acting like you're a tough guy, a gangster rapper, a street guy, but you're not. So that's what it means. And that's why Yahawashi and the apostles knew that those men were not really believing in what they were teaching.
Right.
And they were actually putting more burdens upon the people than they really needed. And then causing dissimulation in the body. That's all.
This is verse 2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known.
Wait, so that means somebody that's a hypocrite will get exposed.
Right. Around what time?
Around the Passover.
That's what we were just talking about earlier. Like, around this time, this is when a lot of the leaven is starting to be shown that's inside of the lump, man. Like you're starting to see, the lump is rising over here. It means we got too much leaven over there.
Correct.
And it starts to show.
That's right.
It's like reaching a certain temperature in the oven where the bread's starting to rise, and you're like, hey, it's getting too big. It's supposed to be having unleavened bread here, not leavened bread.
Correct.
The
this side is rising. Yeah, you see like this over here, there's an issue.
Yeah.
But it's like over here, it's like, wait, you got something's going on over here. And that's what happened with Judas Iscariot, which we'll go into. I'll go into another lesson. We'll go into another lesson on Judas Iscariot. But Judas Iscariot got exposed around the Passover, and the Apostle Paul is going to go into that as well, about how this time of the year is a time when things get exposed. When somebody has like envy, evil eye, covetousness, they promote something that's wicked and it's not really known at the time. A lot of times that thing will be exposed around Passover season, because the Most High wants that to be known, exposed, and then be removed.
Right.
Okay? So you got
verse 3. Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light.
Yeah, so a lot of times these guys will get me a conversation, somebody might record it. It's said in dark, but it's exposed.
Right.
Later on. See, this is the type of stuff that happens.
There's always two sides of the story.
Correct.
Sometimes somebody might just get one side and run with it. But you got to hear both sides, man. You got to hear, to understand the matter, you got to hear both sides of the story.
Yeah, a lot of times there might be more witnesses.
Right.
But more witnesses that can basically say, hey, listen, what this so-called brother or sister said happened didn't happen this way because there was 8 of us there.
Yeah.
Somebody might accuse you of cursing out somebody's significant other wife when there was at least 10 of maybe 8 or 9 other people there, and they will bring it up years later.
That's how you know.
Say,
That's how you know it's true about Yahawashi rising from the dead.
Correct.
Because he had over 500 witnesses, man.
That's right.
That witnessed him after his death.
Yep.
So you can't just get that many people to just tell a tale.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. There was actually a documentary where they said that one of the reasons why people that were even non-believers believed that Yahawashi rose from the dead because the amount of witnesses that say that they saw him and the people that weren't even believers that also saw him going around after he was raised from the dead, they couldn't deny it.
Right.
That's why the Most High had to have him be around everybody, the disciples, after he rose from the dead to confirm this indeed is the Messiah.
Right.
We saw him, and that gave them the energy, that gave them the great amount of faith and security that we need to preach this gospel. That's why the early church was able to go through so much tribulation because their eyes could not deny what they saw. They couldn't deny it. That's why Yahawashi told them, you believe because you've seen, blessed are those that have believed, yet have not seen. So like the brother said, those witnesses is a very key thing. That's why it says, let everything be established by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. A lot of times, you might hear a story of somebody, like somebody got removed, and they're not showing up no more. And then a brother may ask, you want to know if somebody is actually willing to stand on what they speak on. If a brother tells you, hey, I'm going to tell you this, but if you want to know more, talk to other people that was involved in the council or that knew about the situation.
Yeah.
So that way you're not just hearing it from one person.
That's right.
So that way when they go back and they talk to the other people, they're going to say, you know what? I see exactly what's going on because there's no way that 4 or 5 people can be lying about X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But if one person goes and says something, or just a husband and a wife says, hey, look, this happened, and then someone's able to say, hey, listen, I'm a witness to this. This didn't happen this way. And if it did happen that way, you would have brought it to me earlier when it happened X, Y, and Z years ago.
Yep.
So these things are done so that way we can prevent these type of things, incidents, and people that shouldn't be around from being around the body of Christ.
Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the ear in closets shall be proclaimed upon the roof, upon the housetops. And I say unto you, my friends, be not afraid of them that kill the body, and after that have no more than they can do. But I will forewarn you, whom ye shall fear. Fear him which after he has killed has power to cast into hell. Yea, I say unto you, fear him. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 farthings, and not one of them is forgotten before Yahawah? But even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not thereof, ye are of more value than many sparrows. Yeah, that's pretty much it, on that.
Like the brother brought out, like, you know, don't be scared of him that can kill the body but cannot destroy the soul. The soul and body in hell.
Right.
That's why a lot of times, like when we go up against these other like false teachers in Israel, they come up with a false doctrine. We just say, listen, this is wrong. We got the light. We got the true doctrine.
Yeah.
We expose it. We get after it. Because see, part of defense is a great offense too. See, a lot of times when you unleash a great offensive attack, it actually is also a deterrent for the other side to lash an offensive attack.
Right.
So part of your defense as a defender of the gospel is for you to be able to unleash an attack, a counterattack against the gospel. So if you're defending the gospel, it's just like Floyd Mayweather. He gonna duck, dodge.
Right.
He gonna do the Philly shell. He gonna shoulder roll, and then part of his defense is to get them back by counterpunching.
Yep.
That's both an offensive. A counterpunch is both an offensive and defensive weapon because it keeps the opponent at bay. When they know that you're able to counterattack and you're able to unleash a strong punch, then they feel the power, right, of the doctrine that you're dropping, and they say, hold up, I gotta fall back. Because if this power already came initially, what else is behind them?
Right, for real.
And this is something you see going on in warfare. Warfare, look up warfare and counterattacks, okay? A lot of times you'll get drawn into an attack.
The art of war.
Yeah.
We talk about that in the art of war, the book Art of War.
That's right, Sun Tzu,
Uh-huh.
okay? The art of war, which I think somebody said that in the original Chinese, that the art of war, you know, how it was, it means that, it mean in the Chinese, in the Chinese back then, that word there for art actually means the technology of war. Meaning the technical aspects of war.
Yep.
So there's technical aspects of warfare, even spiritually.
It's the book of Galatians, chapter 5 and verse 7. Then we started at the top. 5 and 1.
No, 5 and 7.
1 and 7.
1 Corinthians.
Oh, my bad. Ye did run well. Who did hinder you that ye should not obey the truth? This persuasion cometh not of him that calleth you. A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. I have confidence in you through the Lord that ye will be none otherwise minded. But he that troubleth you shall bear his judgment, whosoever he be.
Whoa, hold up. He that what?
He that troubleth you shall bear his judgment, whosoever he be.
Man.
In the New Living it says, God will judge that person, whosoever he is, who has been confusing you. Verse 11, and I, brethren, if I yet preach circumcision, why do I yet suffer persecution? Then is the offense of the cross ceased?
Yeah, that's so basically he's talking about how a doctrine was brought in among the body that was leaven that caused people to be troubled. So what happens is just like we brought out with that, in fact, go into that word for leaven, go into that word for leaven in the blue letter. Because leaven is not always talking about the leavening agent that you find at the grocery store aisle. This is talking about doctrine.
Right. This is leaven. It's the Hebrew word.
The zume or something like that, right?
Yep. Zumao. Zumao. And which one you want? Strong's? At the top.
Yeah, you should be saying something about moral corruption. Go ahead and read that, and I'll get it. Go on.
It said to leaven, to mix leaven with dough so as to make it ferment.
2019, that's one.
Which one? Oh, I got it. 2219?
Yeah, 19. That's it.
Alright. Okay. This is the root word. Of interferent mental and moral corruption. Viewed its tendencies to infect others.
Come on. Yeah, so moral corruption. So,
Leaven is applied to that substance which is small in quantity, yet thoroughly pervades a thing by its influence. The New Testament uses it in both of a positive or negative sense. A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump.
the positive sense was talking about the Matthew 13, where you have the woman that the kingdom of heaven was likened unto a woman,
Right.
who took leaven and 3 measures of meal until the whole was leavened.
Yep.
That's what the positive sense is. In the negative sense, it's talking about when it's applied to doctrine, this little thing influences a great number of people.
Right.
So what happens is somebody will create either a doctrine or try and create dissension through false teaching or false accusations. Will then go around and try and spread it around the body. This is leaven.
Yep.
Okay? Because it's now causing moral corruption. So this person is basically showing ill intent and ill will in the body by basically bringing in this leaven. Right. That's the reason why a lot of times when false doctrines rose up, we would correct the brother after a couple of times, but after the second admonition, we got to reject.
That's it.
So a lot of times, when you look at certain situations, if a certain doctrine was agreed upon to being false, and you had nowhere to go with it, and then you try and bring it up again, that's the second admonition. You out of there.
Wow.
So regardless of if someone left on their own accord or they stayed around, because they sowed the dissension among the body by secretly pushing a false doctrine behind the back of the whole congregation, couldn't bring it to other brothers or run it up to brothers that were more experienced with this word.
Right, right.
Now you cause something to be fractured in the body where now you got a division for no reason when it should have never escalated to that point.
Right, right.
So that's the type of stuff that happens with false doctrine or someone that's showing discord among brethren.
And around the Passover, man.
Around the Passover.
Stuff like that caused brothers had to redo the Passover.
Yep.
You know?
You have to redo the Passover.
It was a confusion.
Yep. Yeah, God. So that's just an
The
example.
Passover is lamb, unleavened bread, and wine, and bitter herbs,
Right.
and wine.
And wine. Yep.
That's the ingredients, man. That's the supper.
That's the Yahawashi's Passover.
it, man.
That's why it's called Yahawashi's Passover, which is, it's not the same Passover. If you're a non-believer, if you're Old Testament only, you're gonna keep it differently.
Right.
This is something for the disciples.
Yeah.
Because when we take the Passover, we're discerning the Lord's body.
That's right.
We're discerning the blood that He shed. So when we take it, we're looking at it differently than a non-believer who don't believe in Yahawashi.
That's right, man.
Okay, Amalekite in the land, when they keep it, they keep it however they discern whatever it is to them. They discern it as just Egypt.
Right.
Or them coming back from Europe after World War II, whatever it is that they want to put it as.
Right, right.
We're looking at it as a future, we're looking at the old Exodus, and we're also observing the new Exodus which is to come for us to be delivered from our captivities. And we understand that's going to come, that came through what? The sacrifice of Yahawashi for deliverance.
Right. And that sacrifice consists of the body, which is the what? The bread.
Yep.
And the blood, which is the what?
That He shed, which is the wine.
The red wine.
The red wine.
What represents blood.
Yep. Okay, this is my bread, this is my blood. This is my body, this is my blood. He said you gotta eat my flesh and drink my blood. You have no part in me.
Right.
What did that mean? Well, He brought out an example, metaphorically, allegorically, with the bread and wine, which we'll talk about that too.
Paul gonna talk about it.
We're gonna talk about it well, that's right. I think that's it.
Yeah.
You in 1 Corinthians 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 3. For I verily as absent in body, but present in spirit, have judged already, as though I were present, concerning him that has so done this deed. In the name of our Lord Yahawashi Hamashiach, when ye are gathered together, and my spirit with the power of our Lord Yahawashi Hamashiach, to deliver such a one unto Satan, for the destruction of the flesh, that the spirit may be saved in the day of the Lord. Yahawashi.
So the type of person that he's talking about is someone that is doing something that is bad for the body, because in this particular case, in 1 Corinthians 5 and 1, it was talking about a man who had married his father's wife, which that's going to cause immorality. Because one, he's out of order by doing that. That's actually against the law. That is actually fornication if you marry your father's wife. So now if somebody knows you married your father's wife, other people that are seeing that, Leaven, are going to be more emboldened to be sexually immoral. So it's no different than if a sister, let's say a so-called alleged sister committed adultery. She commits adultery, then it's known, she goes around telling other sisters how she committed adultery. Now she's morally corrupting other sisters because a man could not put away his wife. He wasn't strong enough to do so, didn't have the manhood, the testicular fortitude to put away his woman like other men have in the past, even men that have dealt with them situations before getting to the truth, put away their woman. Now you not able to hold this particular person away from corrupting other sisters, she now goes around corrupting other sisters. This is where leaven spreads. Okay? And then you create different situations where other people are involved in your life that are relying on you for living space, that are living underneath you, and now you create a situation where it's a weird situation of whether or not to remove this person now or later. That's a whole other subject. But we know the after effects of this. And we know that these type of people that push false doctrine, or engaging in immoral behavior, or pushing then corrupt somebody, because if you have a wife and you're trying to teach your wife to keep the high holy days and reject the wicked ones, if there's a sister that's around who's keeping the wicked days and she has influence, because it tells you that leaven has influence.
Right.
When you go into that word, it says that leaven has influence.
Right. Right.
Then now that brother can't teach his wife to not keep these wicked holidays because another woman is keeping these idolatrous holidays. So you see how that leaven works?
Yep.
Because they're seeing this behavior, it's almost like, well, it's cool if she do it,
Yeah.
so it's cool if I do it.
Yep. You can't be partakers of the Lord's table and the devil's table at the same time.
That's right.
You got to choose which one you want to eat off.
That's right.
You know, you can't take a little piece of bread off of this one and then drink your wine off of this one.
That's right.
It ain't gonna work that way.
It ain't gonna work. You either gotta partake of the devil's table,
Yep.
the Satan's table, or the Lord's table. You can't mix both in. You gotta either pick one or pick the other. You can't serve both. Our people try to do that. They try to serve the Lord and then serve the idols of Canaan.
Right.
It tells you that that's one of the things we're trying to do. We're trying to do both.
Yep.
It's like, no, you can't do that.
That's what Paul would break it down to him in 1 Corinthians chapter 10.
That's right.
He was breaking that down.
Which right after that he goes into
The partaking of the
1 Corinthians. That's why he goes into 1 Corinthians 11 after that, saying breaking it down. Why it's wrong. And we got some more meat on this one.
Yeah, I'm still there.
Yeah.
I didn't beat. Okay, verse 6. Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump? Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened.
So you got to go purge it. See, we're not talking about purge like the movie.
Right.
But a purge is meaning you go around to remove dissenters. See, when you look up a purge is meant to get rid of the dissenters in the body. You find out who was a part of this, who was pushing this, and we're going to do an investigation, and we're going to make sure that every one of them that was doing this, that they out of there.
That's like whenever you go get a brake job done at the auto mechanic shop. You get your whole brake system done, they got to do something what they got to purge the air out the line. The air in the lines is not good for the brakes, man, for the brake system. Air in the line can cause your brakes not to work. They're gonna just start. You can hit them. They'll go to the floor because you got air in it. You got to get all that air and have straight fluid pumping through the line. This is the same thing that Yahawashi saying. That air is the leaven. You got to get the leaven out the way, man, because you don't want your stuff all lumpy and out. We want one formation. In our bread, we want one nice formation in our doctrine.
That's right.
You know, in Yahawashi's doctrine, we want it all on the same page. We want it all the same, flowing the same, everything the same, man. Like the scriptures say. They got to line up with the scriptures, man. It's not hard. It's not deep. You ain't got to dig deep to figure out what's going on in this book, man. Especially about the Lord's Supper, the Passover. It's simple.
Yeah, and that word there for purge is in Strong's G1751, akatharo, which is to cleanse out, clean thoroughly, to cleanse thoroughly, to purge out.
That's right, man. Got to get all the bad impurities out.
That's right.
Right.
That's why a lot of times when these type of things happen, they would find out the dissenters, like especially back then, they would see who was like pushing this, who was excusing it, who was engaged in it. So they would be like, you know what? You either, a lot of times what you got to do, sometimes people are in ignorance, you correct them, but then you got people that didn't know what was going on, they maybe succumb to that.
Yeah.
That's why it says who hindered you, or was the one you put out, you know, the one that affected you. You write it in the Galatians. In Galatians 5, that one that troubled you, right? So there was some that troubled them, but then you figure out who needs to be removed, and that's what happened with the purge. Like, where, you know, you get one guy, he gets examined, right? He gets exposed, he don't like the brothers, he don't need the brothers.
Yeah.
He was exposed as a liar, now he gotta go.
You don't need the Bible.
Then another guy came and joined with him and said, hey, let this brother stay in.
Yeah.
Oh, no, now you got to go too because you now siding with wickedness.
The Leaven that got on him.
The Leaven that got on him.
The Leaven that got on him, man.
Yeah, so then you got to remove him. So now you don't remove them. Now we're still going through a purging. We're still going through a clean. Then another person, they may purge themselves out. They may remove themselves out because they see that, you know, it's just like in societies. When they do purges, like, you know, they do purges of coups, right? A lot of times they have something called a counter coup. You'll get dissenters that will try and overthrow the leadership of one government, but sometimes they get caught.
That's what the movie The Purge was about, basically.
Yeah.
Purging out the Negroes, who they consider the bad apples of society, man.
Right.
That's what they wanted to purge out.
Now, when they got something called counter coups. So what happens is you get dissenters that want to overthrow the leadership of a society, but a lot of times, sometimes what happens, they get caught.
Yeah.
Now remember Daniel. He caught. Remember, it was not that Zerubbabel.
Yeah.
In the Ezra's. Remember, they wanted to kill. They wanted to kill the king.
Yeah.
He came and exposed it.
Yep.
So that's how he became known. See, when you get dissenters that want to overthrow something, what happens is you purge them out.
Yep.
So the counter coup, the leadership was trying to be overthrown by a group of dissenters. But they got caught in a counter coup. Like we're talking about earlier, the counterattacks, right?
Yeah.
So when you catch them in the counter coup, now you got to go through and find out who was all trying to overthrow and do this coup.
Yep.
And what do? They execute them.
They execute.
They execute all of them. All of them get what?
Or they'll flee on their own.
Or they flee on their own.
They're going to try to abandon the situation like they had nothing to do with it.
They'll try and run, seek after what do you call a political asylum.
Right.
They may flee and seek for political asylum because sometimes they might have been set up by outside force like the CIA. But really it's just Satan.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when they realize they might get caught, like you said, they might just flee.
Yep.
And then the coup was overthrown. It's called a counter coup.
Yep.
Where a coup is stopped before it can happen. So this stuff happens in the real world. It also happens in the spiritual world and the gospel.
Yep. Look what verse 7 says in the New Living. Get rid of the old yeast by removing this wicked person from among you. Then you will be like a fresh batch of dough made without yeast, which is what you really are. Hamashiach, our Passover lamb, has been sacrificed for us.
That's beautiful. Because remember when certain members were removed last year, what would the brothers say? Man, I feel at peace. Like we can actually converse as brothers.
Right.
Because this dissension ain't here anymore. This backbiting was not going on anymore. This brother, so-called brother, that was influencing me to think negatively about another brother, behind his back is no longer here.
The body can feel that, man. The body can feel when it got that leaven in it. You know, because you can
the energy off.
Yeah, the energy is off, man.
The energy is off. That's why you can tell something, it's like something's going on, and then bam, you say, okay, this is what's going on. Then you give some people, you know, like over time it just keeps happening, you know. But that's why we just want to. That's why we like me and the brother did a few weeks ago. That second Ezra 7, that narrow path. Man, we just got to keep a lot of things simple, man. Like I'm telling you, like we already got what we need for eternal life. We just got to keep growing in the righteousness and the fruits of the Spirit. But we, at the same time, we still got to defend the gospel. We still got to be bold as a lion.
Just got to keep it simple.
You see what I'm saying?
It's just keep it simple. It's like nothing so deep, you know, that you gotta go and do an investigation on, or you gotta just, you know, think you so-called had a revelation on it or something. It's simple, man. It's simple. I mean, just, if you can't break down revelations or something like that, that don't mean you ain't gonna get into the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? It's simple. You gotta have faith in Yahawashi and abide in the statutes, laws, and commandments, man.
And endure it to the end.
That's it. And endure it to the end.
Yeah, because he has his elect. He's gonna save. Like if you just look at like all the stuff that happened to us, all the stuff that came to pass. The Most High is literally making these people. They're robots. The U.S. is literally trying to go to war against Russia to kick off World War III like some dummies. Who's making them do that? Like, it's the Most High. He said he was going to do it.
That's it.
So if he can do that, if he can say that for ages, 3,000, 4,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, that this is going to happen this way in the end, he already knows he's going to deliver his elect.
That's right, man.
So now we just got to stay on the narrow path. We can encourage one another. We know that there's trials and tribulations that every brother and sister goes through. that is natural. We encourage one another in the walk, and we keep it moving.
Yep.
We keep it moving. We understand that we are in a very tough, wicked society. It's so deceptive, because people think, it's so deceptive that it don't even make no sense how deceptive it is. We know we're in a very, very tough place, in a very tough time right now. But in the meantime, we got to make sure that we don't, that this leaven is removed and not around, so that way we can have an unleavened, a new lump, like Yahawashi wanted and told his disciples. More meat?
Let me see.
There was so much stuff on there.
Where we stopped at? Read 7, we at 8. Verse 8. Therefore let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. I wrote unto you in an epistle not to company with fornicators, yet not altogether with the fornicators of this world, or with the covetous, or extortioners, or with idolaters, for then must ye needs go out of the world. But now I have written unto you not to keep company, if any man that is called a brother be a fornicator, or a covetous, or an idolater, or a railer, or a drunkard, or an extortioner, with such and one not to eat.
Yeah, so basically a brother or sister. So that's why it's like, when you get these type of people, they do these things and then they try and excuse it. A lot of times someone may be perceived as making a mistake in a situation, but we just let time play it out.
Right.
And what you notice is that some of these people become more emboldened when they realize that they feel like they got away with something, and then they begin to corrupt other brothers and sisters in the thing. And then they begin to teach false doctrines about a woman is able, the Most High is not going to punish adulterous woman, and Hosea was basically with a woman that was in a continuously committing adultery against him, showing movies, saying that this is what happened, and trying to push this leaven, this false doctrine and teaching amongst the brothers and sisters. It's like you just see that corruption. It's like, look, you gotta go. Covetousness.
You can't throw out the order that the Lord set up, man. You can't throw out the order and try to put everybody up basically on the same playing field. You can't do that. Yep. That's of Satan, man. Yep. Well, anytime you get rid of the order, that's of Satan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, covetousness is is the mother of envy. So covetousness, desiring something that somebody else has, whether tangibly or intangibly.
Right.
And this also manifests itself in envy.
Yep.
Okay? So that is where that comes into play. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, property, oxen, sheep, whatever, clothing, chariot, intangible stuff, job. Like you covet this brother's job, now you envy him, you hate him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or perceived wisdom or knowledge of another brother. Oh, I don't like him because he knows X, Y, and Z. Or this brother knows Greek, or this brother knows Hebrew, or this brother knows history, or this brother knows documentary, or this brother knows military warfare.
That's part of the body, man. That's certain gifts that the Most High bless certain brothers with, man.
Mm-hmm. And everybody has their own gift.
Yeah, that's it.
Once you start going into it, the Most High will grow you. If you don't have ill intent, tells you wisdom does not enter into him unless your soul.
Instead of focusing on and hating on a gift that another brother got, embrace it, man. Mm-hmm. Learn from it, take from it. You know what I'm saying? To help it benefit you or benefit the body.
Yeah.
You know, that's what a lot of brothers, that's what I can't see when brothers do that type of stuff, man. It's like, what you mean? Mm-hmm. You think the brother know too much. What kind of sense that make?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you just try to learn something from the brother?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it just be boggling. It's just mind-boggling to me, man.
Yeah.
When brothers do that.
A lot of times it's like people be observing things differently because they're not really understanding what's going on.
Right.
Brothers be working with each other on certain things and finding different precepts in another brother than finding, and brothers be like, oh man, all praises. Because we're working together, we're building up the Lord's church, so we know we're not going to build it up ourselves.
Right.
So other laborers that are entering in, building up the Lord's house,
Right.
They're going to help with everything else. And we all rejoice together when the project is done.
Right.
But y'all, you got some people, they don't even, it's like, they wouldn't want a championship ring if they didn't feel like they wasn't playing the most minutes. But you all get the championship ring at the end of the day. You all get the same ring.
Right.
Chelsea, hey, Robert Horry's a 7-time. Robert Horry's what, like, Robert Horry's what, a 7-time NBA champion? He got championship rings, man. He wasn't the major part, but he played integral parts at times. He hit big shot Rob, that hit some of the most clutch shots in NBA history. Everybody looks at him as one of the most clutch players. He's still valued as an NBA player. It is what it is, but not everybody's is like, you got to look at where you fit in. And also, you don't know when the Most High will elevate you.
That's right.
That's why look at Moses. They tried to get at Moses when people were starting to prophesy in the camp. They said, Moses, look, this man prophesying in the camp. Moses said, I wish that all y'all would prophesy.
All y'all need to be doing it.
He said, if I would, the God, as we said in the scriptures, that all of y'all were able to do it. He said that my desire is that all of y'all would do it. Don't leave him alone. Let him do what he's doing. The Most High is using him. Let him do what he's doing.
Right.
But people thought he should get envious and be like, man, I'm the only one.
It's my job.
Yeah. He was like, he said, if all y'all could do that. And then not too long after that, Dathan, Corey, and Abiram came up against him. After Moses literally just said, leave these guys alone that the Most High raised up as prophets in the camp. Then they came later and said, who are you? A few chapters later. Like, damn. So, and thinking that he was...
Go ahead, you good. I'm just focusing.
So we got to understand covetousness. Everybody has something that they have going, but all of us have different trials and tribulations that we got going on in our life.
Right.
Everybody has their own different burdens. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like a brother being envious. This brother got a wife. Oh, this brother got a good job. Oh, this brother just got in shape. He got a 6-pack now. Oh man, I don't like that brother. Like damn.
Where's the love?
Yeah, that's a mad rapper, man. My small child plays in him. Look, he all over the videos, man. He got $500,000 budget for the videos.
Yeah, man. It's
sound like the mad rapper from Bad Boy, the interview. Yeah. It's like, come on, man. Like, get on, just, if you are humble and you desire to want to know more, get with other brothers, have discussions.
That's right.
Have discussions with other brothers, learn, watch videos, watch documentaries. Pray to the Most High for more wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Freely he gives.
You ain't gonna get it by yourself, man.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna get it by yourself.
Yeah.
You're gonna sit there by yourself and you're gonna be like, oh yeah, this is right.
You gotta run
because
it by
I done been there, and when I run stuff by brothers, I be like, oh, okay, they give me another precept, and I be like, I can see where I was wrong.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Yeah, and if you don't think that certain brothers don't run things by brothers, y'all those brothers are mistaken. Before a lot of times these doctrines go out and you think a brother's just teaching on his own, he done ran it by 2 or 3 brothers.
But whenever you
and sat on it for a year. We got some lessons that sat on for years. Their brother ready to run by and say, hey, what do you think about this? And hey, what do you think about this? And the brother looking, oh, that's on point. And then they only come out for 2 years.
And some brothers be so eager and desperate to put out a lesson, they'll hear another brother speak of a lesson and then go run and do it right quick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, man.
That's that envy, huh?
That's it.
That's that envy. That envy is like, man, I'm going to make it look like it's mine.
Yeah.
Instead of, see, a lot of times when you get something, you learn this in school, cite your sources. Right. If I got a particular precept that I know another brother showed me, I'll say, oh yeah, I was talking to the brother. He brought out this particular precept when we was talking on the phone yesterday. Nothing wrong with that.
I do it whenever it can be another camp.
Yeah, it could be another group.
You know, like I heard Yahawashi saying this, man, and I'm like, you know.
I said it was right on this. I'll say, man, Asaf from Sakari went into this history piece, and it was on point. We do that with other groups that we don't agree with all the time.
Yeah.
How much more your own brethren than the body? If we're willing to give credit to Nathaniel and Deacon Yahawashi from Yahawashi for bringing out some information, or a Sakari, and say, man, so-and-so brought out this the other day, he was on point with this.
Right.
But your own brother in the body, you can't do that with.
Right.
You just want to, it's like, that's where the covetous, the idolatry hit that next, right?
Which one? The 1 Corinthians 5:8. Right now. Idolatry. Oh no, the brother being idolatry. Leaven. Such a one.
Yeah, so in 1 Corinthians 5 and 11, also an idolatry.
Right.
Meaning someone that is basically idol worshiping.
Right.
Or they're basically celebrating holidays that are not scriptural.
Right.
So those type of people you gotta be mindful of. You see somebody talking about, man, I'm about to go and celebrate my birthday. You're like, yo,
Move back.
what up with that? Or Halloween, or Thanksgiving. You had guys in GMS that was pushing, go and eat Thanksgiving dinner with your family.
You can eat it.
You can eat the food. So you can eat the food. That's idolatry. Because like it tells you in Paul's letter, if the one tells you that this thing is sacrificed unto an idol, that it is for an idol, don't eat it for conscience sake of the person that's there.
Right.
Because they told you what they're giving you was sacrifice unto an idol. Meaning like Halloween, a birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, a New Year's. When at the job, they be having like little things at the job. Like they'll have Easter, like I know they're gonna come up with the Easter one, right?
Right.
They're gonna have an Easter lunch for the employees of some sort. Here's some Easter stuff.
Every time.
For the employees. You know what I do? I go up in there, I go grab my own lunch.
Have a potluck.
I warm it up myself.
Yep.
I eat up my own food, and I don't even touch it.
They're gonna have a potluck. Everybody they're gonna bring the turkey, they're gonna bring the dressing, they're gonna bring all the sides that go with it.
Yep. So I already know, like, oh, I'm not gonna do that. Oh, Christmas? Y'all got a Christmas meal for us right before Christmas, and y'all called it Christmas meal.
I know what I
For the
believe.
employees.
I'm gonna eat. I know what I believe. I'm gonna eat.
Yeah.
You eat to that item.
Yeah. And then now when you go talk to your coworker about not doing it, he gonna be like, man, weren't you just eating that Christmas meal that they had?
Yep.
See, that's where the leaven comes into play. Now it's hypocrisy.
Right.
Because now that hypocrisy is coming into play where it's like, oh, I'm not an idolater. But then you go back, you're in idolatry.
Yep.
You're celebrating birthdays. You're celebrating, you're observing Halloween.
And that's when the
You're
Most High
eating
showed
pumpkin
it.
pies.
That's whenever he started coming out.
Yeah.
Around the Passover.
Yep.
It started leaking out around the Passover, man.
And it causes confusion with younger brothers and sisters. There was one sister that was corrupted by another sister to the point where she had to be retaught what fornication was.
Right.
Because of the leaven.
Right.
The negative influence of that particular person.
Yep. I think we read it already.
Yeah, we can stop right there. But keep going with the verse 12 through 13.
Verse 12. For what have I to do to judge them that are without? Do not ye judge them that are within? But them that are without, Yahawah judgeth. Therefore put away from among yourselves that wicked person.
Yep.
That's right, man.
Put them away because you got to remove them. Like the brother Joseph, he came up, remember what he talked about the body?
Yeah.
About if the eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from me?
Yeah.
That was a revelation with the incident.
Right.
He was like, wait,
Yep.
this means remove that that person, because the body is made of many members.
That's right.
But if the member causes an offense, remove it. Meaning if it's an eye, a leg, an arm, a hand,
Cut it off.
cut it off.
That's what he said.
So that the whole body don't get cast into hell.
Get cast into hell, man.
Because if you let that leaven fester up, now you're gonna have a whole bunch of
Gangrene.
Yeah.
Like gangrene.
Yep.
I think that's what one of the new living or something call it, gangrene.
It's gonna spread like gangrene.
It's gonna spread like gangrene.
Yep.
And the only way you stop gangrene is to cut it off, man.
Yep.
When your toes is frostbitten, what you gonna do?
Yep.
Cut them off.
Or it's gonna keep spreading
It's
that
gonna keep
infection.
spreading an infection.
And you're gonna have to get the whole leg
The
off.
whole leg gonna
Yeah,
have to
what's
go.
his name? Deion Sanders.
Catch diabetes in the toe.
Yep.
You gotta cut it off or it's gonna spread. Eventually you're gonna have to get the whole leg cut off.
Yeah, Deion Sanders had to get his toes removed on one of his foot.
Yep.
He lost like I think 3 or 4 toes on one of his foot because he had injuries from when he was playing before, and those foot would never heal, and it was always causing problems. So the doctor's like, listen, if you want to live a better life, it's better for you to cut off these toes.
Cut them off.
And he showed it in an interview. I don't know if it was with Shannon Sharp, but he took off his shoe and showed his foot how his toes was cut off. But that was what? To preserve his life. Same thing it is. If you want to preserve the body, you got to remove those wicked members. If not, it's just going to be a problem. Because once everything settles in and gets more peaceful, there's no dissension, then people will begin to be more spiritually blessed and refreshed in this thing. That's why after the members were removed, certain brothers grew spiritually rapidly.
Yep, that's right.
You know, began teaching, doing lessons, getting revelations. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Felt comfortable expressing themselves. You know what I'm saying? Felt comfortable being being in a brotherly love. You know? We could probably leave that first Corinthians 11 now, dude. And that goes from 23 on to
Yeah, we
34.
can do it later.
We do it later, so just close it out.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, that's it. So y'all have an understanding right there of beware of the leaven. You know, beware of that leaven. That leaven is that unrighteous energy influence that comes from a doctrine and or wicked person that can cause to spread in the body and cause the body to fall.
Yeah.
Okay? So
you just had to make brothers aware of this around this time of the year. The Passover, man.
yeah.
You know? Just focus on that and pay attention to the brothers that's around you. Even yourself. You know, just make sure you're not bringing no leaven.
Yeah, so it says that, we didn't want to go into it, but examining yourself.
Right.
That you're not in that same mindset. That's why really you look at what's it called, you look at what things to remove. It says remove that these people not to eat, don't be one of them. Perform yourself, be like-minded to be like how the disciples were back in old time. They didn't have envying, they weren't involved in fornication, promoting it. They weren't covetous, which also covetous also leads to envy. Okay? They weren't also idolaters. They weren't extortioners. They weren't drunkards. They weren't revelers. They weren't out there partying.
Basically, pay attention to what you eat and drink at the Passover, man.
Yeah.
Make sure it's what's in the scriptures.
That's right.
This is Matthew 26 and verse 6. Now when Yahawashi was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahawashi understood it, he said unto them, Why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she has poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman has done be told for a memorial of her.
That money, all glory and praise
to Yahawah, in the name of the Heavenly Father,
Yahawashi,
in the name of the Son, Yahawashi. Peace and salutation to the brothers that's doing this work in truth and sincerity.
Shalom.